Did you know that psilocybin mushrooms are the safest psychoactive substance, safer than tobacco, alcohol, caffeine, cannabis? In fact, psilocybin mushrooms have been used for thousands and thousands of years by humans and are now making a resurgence and a comeback with the FDA as a breakthrough therapy for treatment-resistant depression and major depressive disorder. These little fungi are so interesting and have been proven with clinical research to treat a number of clinical issues like depression, alcoholism, cigarette smoking, and end-of-life anxiety. It is no overestimation to say that psilocybin mushrooms may be one of the keys to helping humanity transcend its current crisis. Let's go a little bit more into what psilocybin mushrooms are and why they're so useful. As ancient medicines and sacraments, psilocybin mushrooms have been used for thousands of years. The psychedelic bard Terence McKenna conceptualized the idea of the stone ape theory, which hypothesized that our ancient hominid ancestors consumed small amounts of psilocybin mushrooms, which then led to the next leap of human evolution. But outside of the ancient context, psilocybin mushrooms were also used in pre-Columbian times in Mesoamerica, most specifically by the Aztecs. Considered food of the gods, they were used in sacraments and ceremonies. It wasn't until the 1950s when psilocybin mushrooms came back into the consciousness of Western culture and civilization. This is when R. Gordon Wasson visited Oaxaca, met Maria Sabina, and then brought the idea of the magic mushroom back to the States by covering it in Life magazine. This publication, this Life magazine publication, is what kicked off the entire counterculture and eventually led to the banning of psilocybin in 1971 under the UN Convention Act. It is only in recent years that we've seen a resurgence of interest in psilocybin. In fact, in 2018 and 2019, the FDA granted breakthrough approval status to psilocybin to treat both treatment-resistant depression and major depressive disorder. When it comes to the science and research behind psilocybin mushrooms, scientists have extracted the molecule of psilocybin from mushrooms and then provided it to patients within a clinical setting. Within that context, psilocybin has proven to be incredibly effective at treating end-of-life anxiety, alcoholism, major depressive disorder, and treatment-resistant depression. In fact, over the last 15 years, psilocybin has been the most comprehensively studied of all the classic psychedelics because it is short-lasting and it doesn't have the same stigma attached to it that LSD does from the counterculture and the second wave. So let's talk a little bit about the practical use of psilocybin mushrooms. The experience itself, the journey lasts anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, which is about half as long as LSD. It can often be very intense, so that's why it's critical that you pay attention to set and setting when working with psilocybin mushrooms. In terms of the amounts used, 0.1 to 0.5 grams is a microdose, 0.5 to 1.5 grams is a museum dose, 1.5 to 3.5 grams is a moderate dose, and anything above 3.5 grams is a megadose. If you're looking at doing a really high dose journey, it's critical that you have a guide or a sitter who can be there for you while you're going through with this experience. Despite being the safest drug known to man, psilocybin mushrooms still have a few risks and concerns that you must pay attention to. One is if you have a clinical condition and you're interested in working with psilocybin mushrooms, always check with a medical professional before doing so. Two, these substances are still illegal most places, so make sure that you know where your substance comes from and that you have a clear understanding of what it is. And three, like all other psychedelics, be sure you pay close attention to set and setting. Prepare for the experience, do the ceremony within a safe and secure container, and pay close attention to integration afterwards to ensure that the insights and benefits that came from the experience can be applied to your everyday life. So what is the legality of psilocybin mushrooms? There are two main things to pay attention to: clinical use and non-clinical use. When it comes to non-clinical use of psilocybin mushrooms, they are legal in Jamaica, and there are a number of retreat centers that have popped up there. Psilocybin truffles, which essentially have the same effect as mushrooms, are legal in the Netherlands. You can go into smart shops, and there are a number of retreats there. And now psilocybin mushrooms are decriminalized in Denver and Oakland, with over 100 other cities also considering decriminalization. When it comes to the clinical use of psychedelics and the use of psilocybin, the molecule, it looks as if psilocybin will be medically available for depression by 2021 or at the latest 2022. There are a number of different ways that psilocybin mushrooms can be consumed. In a clinical trial, it's in pill form because psilocybin is extracted from the mushroom itself. But outside of clinical trials, psilocybin mushrooms are often consumed in one of several ways. The first way is by grinding them up, putting them into a capsule, and consuming them. The other ways that you can consume psilocybin mushrooms are with a tea or by putting it into a chocolate and consuming the chocolate. Regardless of how you consume psilocybin mushrooms, it's really important that, especially if you're new to psychedelics, that you start low and go slow. This is why we emphasize the importance of microdosing so much at the third wave, because we believe that it's best to start with a relationship with the substance itself by just starting at a microdose level and then incrementally increasing the amount that you're taking over time as you become more comfortable and aware of the effect that psilocybin mushrooms have on your psyche and your total being. If this is your first time working with psychedelics, psilocybin mushrooms are a great place to start. As we talked about earlier, they are the safest psychoactive substance that we currently have available. It's easy to start at a microdose level, and we as humans have been using this for thousands and thousands of years. So it's safe, it's effective, and it's really easy to grow your own mushrooms. If you're interested in learning more about psilocybin mushrooms and the third wave of psychedelics and why responsible psychedelic use is so critical, then go to our website at thethirdwave.co and check out our ultimate guide to psilocybin mushrooms. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to stay up to date on the third wave of psychedelics, subscribe to this channel and visit thethirdwave.co, where you'll find plenty of free resources on the intentional and responsible use of psychedelic medicine.